All right, so good day, everybody. We will be having our new discussion for our subject multicultural diversity in the workplace. So, our next topic is all about communication in multicultural workplace. So, let's proceed with the learning objective. So, the first one is explain different styles of verbal communication in multicultural workplaces, analyze cultural differences in nonverbal communication cues, identify and suggest solutions to cross cultural communication barriers, demonstrate active listening techniques in diverse teams, and apply conflict resolution strategies with cultural sensitivity. So, I believe we are all ready to move forward with this discussion. Okay, so first is let's discuss what is communication. So, in your own understanding, how do you define communication? All right. So, when we say communication, it is the process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, or feelings. So, meaning when we say communication, it is simply the process of sharing information, ideas, or feelings between people. So, it is how we connect with others, whether by speaking, writing, using gestures, or even through expression and body language. So, you have to understand that it is important to remember that communication is not just about talking, it's about a two-way process. So, what do we mean when we say two-way process? Diba, when we are communicating or we are exchanging information from one person to another, we expect responses or we expect feedback. Okay? That's why, in order for us to create a certain communication, it should be a two-way process. So there will be different elements to take in consideration in order for us to make sure that a certain conversation is under communication. Okay? So in short, when we say communication class, it is the idea or it is the actions on how we transmit different information from one person to another. Okay? So moving forward is why it matters. So why do we need to understand the importance or the significance of having communication? Why do we need to communicate with other people? Why do we need to transfer information from one people to another, especially when we are working in any organization or in the workplace? Why do we need to create conversation or communication? So these are some of the significance or importance. So the first one is we have communication builds trust and understanding. So you have to take note that understanding or when we are communicating openly and honesty or with honesty, it builds trust. Okay, so you have to know that trust grows when messages are clear and people feel heard and respected. Okay, so for example, in a certain organization or you are working in a certain workplace, a manager who explains company changes honestly with uh, clarity will earn employees' trust. So, if we are explaining or we are sharing information about our companies or organization clearly, okay, and smoothly with our employees, it builds trust with them because you communicate those details with the employees. So, likely if yung mga empleyado ay aware or alam nila yung mga information na dapat nilang malaman when it comes to company regulation, policies, or any announcement related to the operations of the company, then it's more likely na makakapag-build ng trust or loyalty kasi naiintindihan nila kung anong nangyayari doon sa organization. Okay? Hindi sila blanco or hindi sila um, zero information na, ay, bakit kaya walang salary increase this year? O kaya, kailan kaya lalabas yung bonuses natin? So, when we communicate information to our employees, it builds trust and understanding. Okay? Next is it helps prevent conflicts and misunderstanding. So, um, please take note that most conflicts happen because of miscommunications when messages are unclear, incomplete, or misunderstood. So, most of the time nagkakaroon tayo ng hindi pagkakaunawaan or conflicts because some of the information that we are transferring from one person to another is not as exactly as the same that we receive it or we heard it. That's why communication matters. We have to explain it thoroughly and clearly to all the persons involved because you have to understand that good communication reduces confusion. It clarifies expectations and prevents unnecessary argument. So, for example, if you are working in any company and if the deadline of the project or the task is not communicated clearly, so some of you or one of the employees may assume that, for example, ang deadline ay end of the week, while yung iba naman, they will assume na end of the month yung deadline. So, you have to clarify all of the informations to all of the employees in the organization. Okay, so yung simple clarification ng mga information can really resolves or avoids conflict. Okay? So, we have to understand that even though small details yan ng operation, if it is necessary to transfer that information or communicate that information to respective department or assign people, then we have to do it. Okay, to avoid conflicts and misunderstanding. So, for example, in another scenario, you are working in a hotel and the guests will arrive by 10 a.m. Okay, so yun ay technically early check-in. Okay, so ikaw as a front office agent, what will you do? You have to take note that they will arrive by 10 a.m. and you have to inform the other department concerns when it comes to the arrival of that guest. So, oy, housekeeping, I would like to inform you that the check-in time of this guest will be early check-in at 10 a.m. So, you have to make sure that the room is already settled. Okay, so another one, F&B team, this guests have an advance reservation by 10 a.m. in the restaurant because they will do an early check-in. So you have to inform those respective departments because what will happen if you do not inform those things, okay, to the other department? So it will create problem. Okay, it will create conflict. And lastly, it is essential in leadership, teamwork, relationships, educations, and daily life. So, why it matters when it comes to communication? So, you have to always remember that great leaders inspire others through clear vision and motivating words. So when you become a leader or part of a higher position in the organization in the future, you have to understand that you have to transfer information clearly, thoroughly, and with motivation to your subordinates or to your employees. So, for example, if you are a hotel manager giving a pep talk before a busy holiday, so mas magkakaroon ng motivation. When we say pep talk, talk rather, you give motivations, okay? You uh, communicate words that made or that makes your employees high moral, mas ma-engage sila, mas ma-excite sila, mas mabu-boost yung energy nila. So, especially during the holiday, we all know that when you are working in the tourism and hospitality industry during holiday, 'di ba? Employees are working 24/7, okay, or more than 10 hours per shift. So if you are a hotel manager, so you created or you are transferring information or communication with your subordinates or employees, then they become motivated and united, especially when doing their tasks and responsibilities. So as a leader, communication matters. Okay? In order for you to build teamwork and good relationships with your people. Okay? So another example naman when it comes to teamwork. So teams succeed when members share ideas and listen to each other. So for example, in a group project, everybody is contributing openly and the team reaches its goal faster because everybody is sharing their thoughts. They are sharing their ideas so that they can come up with a good outcome or output. Diba? So another one when it comes to relationships. So you have to remember that strong communication keeps personal relationship healthy. Whether you are with your families or with your friends, you have to open your emotions. Okay, in order for you to create bond, okay, or rapport with one another. Okay, so these are the benefits or some significance of having communication. Next is elements of communication. So, what are those elements? So, the first one, we have participants. So, sino-sino ba yung participants? And how does it process in the communication? So, when we say participant, the other term is the communicators, or to make it simple, the sender and the receiver of the information. So these are the people that are involved in the communication process. So when we say the sender, the person who starts or initiate the communication, he or she is the one creating and sending the message. On the other hand, yung receiver naman, these are the person who receive or accepts the message. And siya din yung nag-i-interpret and magre-respond doon sa na-receive niyang message. So, for example, I am the one who is discussing this topic. So, ako yung sender kasi ako yung nag explain ng lesson. Ako yung nagta-transfer ng information. And kayo, my followers or my listener, are the students or the receiver. Kasi kayo yung nakikinig at nagte-take down notes while I am the one who are discussing the lesson. Okay? So, next, we have the context. So when we say the context, it is the situation or the environment where the communication takes place. So in short, saan nangyari or saan naganap yung conversation or yung communication. So, it includes pwedeng cultural background or sa workplace settings or relationship between participants and even emotional climates or yung currently nararamdaman nung kausap mo or habang magkausap kayo. So, for example, meron kayong casual conversation sa pantry during your break time at your office. Puwede rin namang meron kayong formal presentation in a boardroom because you are meeting with your investor or with your client. Okay? Or for example, you are attending a seminar or a webinar when the speakers or the facilitators are talking and on the other hand, kayo naman yung nakikinig or nagre-receive ng information. Okay? So, so next, we have the message. So, when we say message, it is the core of communication. It contains the main idea or purpose that the sender wants to share with the receiver. So, in short, these are the information, the ideas, the thoughts, or feeling that we are openly want to share with the receiver. Okay? So, it can be spoken, written, non-verbal, or visual, which later on I'll discuss with you further. So, meaning when we say message, these are the thoughts that we would like to transfer from the other person involved. So, for example, you are in the workplace and your manager says that the meeting will start at 9 a.m. So the message is the information about the time of the meeting. Another example is there will be an upcoming team building activity on November 2025. So that would be the message of the communication or the conversation. Okay, so any details or information that we are sharing with the persons involved or the participants or the communicator is what we call the message. Next, we have channel. So what do we mean when we say channel? So when we say channel, it is the method used to deliver the message. So some of the pathway or ibig sabihin ito yung medium na ginagamit natin para ma-deliver or ma-transfer natin yung information. So these are some of the medium or pathway na ginagamit natin. Pwedeng face-to-face conversation, pwedeng via letter, via phone call, email, or through social media. So, pwede ring via chat or video conference. Okay, so for example, in your organization or in your company, merong mga announcement and sinesend siya via company email or via Viber, via WeChat, via WhatsApp. So these are some of the example of what we call channel, yung dinadaanan or ginagamit natin para ma-deliver or ma-transfer natin yung messages or yung information. Next is feedback. So, what do we mean when we say feedback? So, meaning it is the receiver's response to the message. It shows if the message was understood. When both sides keep giving feedback, communication keeps going. So, in short, pag sinabi nating feedback, it is the response or the reactions of the receiver to the sender message. So, magkakaroon lang ng two-way process if yung receiver ay nagbigay ng feedback or nagbigay ng reaksyon doon sa message na dineliver ng sender. So for example, sabi ng manager, please submit the report by Friday. And the employees replies, yes, I'll send it by Friday morning. So that feedback confirming of understanding na intindihan ng mga empleyado na yung project or yung report ay kailangang isubmit ng Friday and nag-respond sila na yes, isasubmit namin ng Friday morning. So, dapat naintindihan or malinaw doon sa receiver yung information na nakuha niya doon sa sender. Kapag ang feedback na binigay ng receiver ay mali or hindi tama doon sa binigay ng message ng sender, then magkakaroon ng miscommunication. Do you follow? All right. So let's move forward. Next is type of communication. So there are four types of communication that you need to take in consideration. The first one is the verbal. When we say verbal, it is spoken or written words. So when we say spoken or written words, so spoken, ibig sabihin, nakikipag-usap tayo face to face, okay, or via phone, as long as we are hearing the voice of one another, so we can call it as verbal communication. It is also by written words. However, I separate a written words as another type of communication. Another one is non-verbal communication. When we say non-verbal communication, we do not use any words. We are not speaking with our uh, communicator. Okay? What we do is we use different facial expressions, body language, tone, gestures, eye contact. So, ibig sabihin, walang words na lumalabas sa bibig natin. We only communicate with the people using our movement or our actions. We also have written. Ito yung sinasabi ko na hiniwalay ko doon sa verbal communication. Kasi it is important for you to know that when we say verbal, we are speaking directly the words, okay, through uh, our mouth, transferring or using different channels. Pag written, it involves conveying messages and information or ideas through written words. For example, via letter, via emails, via postmails. Okay, via faxes. So, written yung tawag natin doon. And lastly, yung visuals. So, ito namang visuals, we utilizes different images, infographics, diagrams, charts, in order for us to communicate information. Mostly, ginagamit natin yung visuals when we are presenting financial reports, when we are presenting, ano pa ba, uh, comparison and contrast. So, hierarchies. So, we use different images to portray or to transfer communications or information. So, these are the four types of communication. We have verbal, nonverbal, written, and visuals. Next, you have to understand when it comes to non-verbal cues, ito yung mga bagay na nagmamatter or kailangang binibigyan nating pansin. Kasi ito yung mga nakakaapekto kung paano maita-translate or maiintindihan ng receiver natin yung gusto nating i-deliver or iparating sa kanyang messages kahit na hindi tayo nagsasalita. Okay, so sa nonverbal cues, first, yung tone or phasing of voice natin. Pag ba, ah, what do you call this? Pag ba nagsalita tayo or nag-act tayo, yung boses ba natin masyado bang mataas, masyado bang mahina, pagalit ba siya or mahinahon ba siya, mabilis, mabagal. So, yun yung tinatawag nating tone or phasing of voice. Another one is facial expression. 'Di ba? When we are communicating with someone, sometimes we cannot what do you call this? We cannot check our facial expression. Minsan pala nakataas na yung kilay natin or nandidilat na yung mata natin o kaya nakakalimutan na nating mag-blink. Or when it comes to facial expression, nakasimangot tayo or yung reactions natin, nakikita kung paano tayo nagpo-portray dun sa actions ng faces natin. So we have to also consider those things. Another one is eye contact. So hindi rin naman pwedeng titig na titig ka, hindi ka na nagbi-blink or shy ka naman, shy type, hindi ka na tumitingin, wala ka ng eye contact. Then, kapag gano'n ang nangyari, mawawalan kayo ng connections or hindi kayo makakapag-build ng rapport. That's why you have to practice the proper eye contact. So, um, look straight with your communicator, but you have to always remember to blink as well. Okay? Para hindi naman tayo mukhang robotic. Next is personal space. So, kailangan mo ring maintindihan na each and everybody have its own personal space. Okay? So, hindi naman sobrang lapit na halos magkadikit na yung mukha nyo or na i-invade mo na yung personal space niya. So, yung proper distance between your communicator is a must as well. Baka naman magkaharap lang kayo pero sumisigaw ka na, 'di ba? Or kaya yung layo nyo 5 meters. So, hindi na kayo nagkakarinigan, nagsisigawan na kayo. So, you have to be mindful with the personal distance or personal spaces of each and everyone communicators that you have so that you know how to navigate or adjust on how to communicate with them. And lastly, body language and gestures. 'Di ba? You have to always be mindful as well with your body language and gestures. So kung paano gumagalaw yung kamay mo or when you are standing or nasan yung positions ng kamay mo or ng shoulders mo kasi makikita din nila doon if you are interested in the conversation. For example, in the meeting, nasa table yung kamay mo, tas nakahawak sa baba mo. So, it portray na parang naboboring ka na or hindi ka interested. Or another example naman, merong nagpe-present sa unahan pero ikaw nagse-cellphone ka lang, nakatingin ka lang sa gadgets mo. So, it portray na hindi ka interested dun sa topic. So, body language and gestures are also important matter of nonverbal cues. These are the things that you need to take in considerations. Okay? Now, let's move forward to communication barrier. So, ano ba yung tinatawag nating communication barrier? So, in short, when we say communication barriers, these are the factors that prevent us from effectively exchanging and understanding messages. In short, ito yung mga challenges na nagbibigay sa atin ng what do you call this, conflict in order for us to deliver our messages to the receiver. Or ito yung mga humahad lang sa atin para matransfer natin yung information ng tama at maayos doon sa gusto nating pagbigyan ng information. Okay, now, ano-ano ba yung mga barriers na nakaka prevent sa atin para makipag-communicate tayo effectively from one another. So we have, the first one is physical barriers. So when we say physical barriers, ito yung mga external obstacles in the environment that make it hard for us to send or receive messages. So external environment factors, halimbawa, yung mga ingay sa workplace natin. 'Di ba? For example, merong nagko-construction sa labas ng office. Malakas yung mga machines, yung mga equipment na ginagamit nila. So hindi na tayo magkarinigan during the meeting. So minsan, anong sinasabi mo? Hindi kita marinig. 'Di ba? Or mali yung interpretation natin doon sa sinabi ng kausap natin. Another example ng physical barriers is yung distance between employees in different offices or branches, 'di ba? Halimbawa, meron kang i-communicate sa accounting, yung accounting nasa 10th floor pa, ikaw nasa second floor pa. Okay? So, yung means of communications is nagkakaroon ng challenges. Okay? Another example naman is yung poor lighting or bad acoustics ng isang meeting room. So nakakaapekto din 'yun sa communication during the meeting kasi nga na da-divert yung attention natin doon sa mga external factors. Okay? So I would like to give you a definite example or a scenario. For example, there are two employees na nagvi-video call. However, hindi nila marinig yung isa't isa kasi nga yung background nung kausap ay may maingay, may mga dumadaang mga sasakyan, may mga umiiyak na bata, so on and so forth. Okay? Next, another barriers of effective communication is psychological barriers. So ano ba yung tinatawag nating psychological barriers? So when we say psychological barriers, it is an obstacle or a challenge to have an effective communication from people's state of mind, emotions, or attitude. Ibig sabihin, unstable yung um, pag-iisip, okay? Wala sa tamang pag-iisip, wala sa sarili, lutang, or may iniisip na iba or na nakakaapekto sa kanya para makapag-transfer siya ng maayos na information. So ano ba yung mga example ng psychological barriers? Like halimbawa, pag meron kang nakakaranas ka ng stress, meron kang anxiety, or mababa yung self-esteem mo, so nakakaapekto yun para makapag-deliver ka or makapag-accept ka ng messages. Another example is ng psychological barrier is yung mga bias and prejudices, 'di ba? Minsan pinipigilan nating makinig sa isang tao kasi nga ayaw natin sa kanya or hindi tayo favor dun sa sinasabi niya. Kaya pinipili natin hindi siya pakinggan. Okay? Another example is yung fear of speaking up in front of others. Pag tumatayo tayo sa unahan or kapag magsasalita tayo, nanginginig na tayo or kinakabahan na tayo para na tayong nahihilo or nasusuka. So, part yun ng psychological barriers to effective communication. 'Di ba? So, kunwari sa workplace, meron kayong presentation ng report. Every time that you're going to present or you're going to deliver your thoughts, na may mental block ka na, namamawis na yung kamay mo. So, part yon ng psychological barriers. Next is semantic barriers. So, ma'am, ano naman po yung semantic barriers? Okay, so when we say semantic barriers, these are problems caused by language, wording, or meaning of messages. Meaning, yung mga jargons na ginagamit natin. We all know that when you are working in a multicultural diverse workplace, you are working with different nationalities, and those people with different nationalities have different languages. They have different norms or cultures. May mga iba't iba silang jargons. That's why nagkakaroon ng barriers to effective communication. So, yung mga paggamit natin ng jargons or yung mga technical terms na hindi naman natin naiintindihan or hindi naman lahat naiintindihan. Ang best example nito yung yung sa mga Gen Z, 'di ba? Um, I encountered one word that I do not understand as a millennial. So yung Gen Z meron siya, sabi nung isa kong ah, friend na Gen Z, sabi niya rug. So sabi niya rug. Sabi ko, ano yung rug? Sabi niya, rug ka ba this Sunday? So sabi ko, ano yung rug? Pala, ibig sabihin nun RUG. Ibig sabihin, G ka ba or go ka ba na lumabas this Sunday? Another example is yung, what do you call this? Ano yun? Yung akala ko, IYK, IYK. Sabi ko, ano yun? Iyak-iyak. So, hindi pala yun yung meaning niya. So, yung meaning pala nun is, if you know, you know. So, sabi ko, there are a lot of jargons or technical terms that hinders effective communication. So, natatawa ko kasi yung basa ko dun sa chat niya is iyak-iyak. So sabi ko, ano yun? What's the meaning of that? I do not know that word. So yun pala. So there are a lot of jargons pa na ginagamit nowadays yung mga Gen Z na baby boomers or boomers and millennials doesn't comprehend. Okay? Kasi nga iba yung terms. That's why nagkakaroon ng conflict when it comes to communications. Okay? Best example of this is yung sa office, 'di ba? Pag halimbawa yung boss natin or yung boss mo magpapasubmit sa'yo ng report, sasabihin niya, "Oh, please submit the report ASAP." Okay? So, iba-iba tayo ng interpretation when we say the word ASAP. Merong mga employee na kapag sinabing ASAP, ang iniisip nila, siguro by today, kailangan masubmit na ASAP daw eh. Yung iba naman, yung mahilig procrastinate, ang isipin nila, siguro within this week pa pwedeng ipasa. So, we have to make sure na all of the information should be delivered clearly. Okay? So, yun nga, yung sinasabi nating barriers, yung semantic. And last but not the sorry, hindi pa pala to last. Cultural. So, when we say cultural barriers, ito naman yung mga differences natin when it comes to our norms, traditions, values, beliefs, and communication style between culture. 'Di ba? Pinag-aralan natin yung different dimensions of the workplace. May individualism, collectivism, power distance, high power distance, low power distance, and those set up have different kind of communication styles as well. Kasi nga magkakaiba tayo ng mga kultura. For example, there are countries or there are culture na very straightforward sila magsalita. There are culture naman na gusto nila medyo polite or medyo uh, subtle kung paano sila kausapin. For example, in US or in European countries, they are very direct to the point, 'di ba? For them, they are just being direct to the point. But for us Filipinos, hindi 'yun polite or very blunt 'yun, disrespectful 'yun. But yun nga kasi, magkakaiba tayo ng culture, magkakaiba tayo ng um, way of life. That's why we have to take note of those things. Another example naman when it comes to eye contact. Sa ibang kultura, when you are doing eye contact, okay, with your communicator, it shows confidence, 'di ba? But in others, makikita natin siya or madidepict natin siya as disrespectful because there are some cultures na ayaw nilang tinitingnan sila sa mata. Okay? Another example, yung gestures. Sa ibang bansa or sa ibang culture, yung thumbs up or sa atin, pag sinabi nating thumbs up, okay, good. But in another country, kapag nag-thumbs up ka, offensive 'yon sa kanila, 'di ba? Another example, sa American workplace setting, yung American manager nag-e-expect siya na yung employees ay mag speak up openly sa meeting. Sasabihin lahat ng concern, lahat ng request. But sa atin, Filipino staff, 'di ba, kapag may meeting, tumatahimik na lang tayo out of respect kahit hindi natin gusto yung sinasabi or hindi tayo nag-agree doon. Sometimes some of us, okay, hindi na lang nagsasalita. Kasi nga, baka mapag-initan or hindi kasi siya open for in our culture. 'Di ba? Or hindi tayo nagsasalita kasi baka ma-misinterpret yung sinasabi natin na ay mali naman 'yan eh or kulang naman yung ideas mo because we do not want to be embarrassed during the conversation. That's why we only preserve it. But yung downside doon, during the meeting, ayaw nating magsalita. 'Di ba? We keep our thoughts to ourselves. But after the meeting, doon na tayo magrarant, doon na tayo magsasalita. So what will happen? Nothing will happen kasi we do not share our informations or thoughts during the meeting. Unlike dun sa mga American culture, they are very straightforward. Kahit they are rank and file, some of them are managers, supervisor, they are openly communicating with one another. And last but not the least is yung technological barriers. So when we say technological barriers, so it arises from problems through communication technology. So nowadays, 'di ba, we are into digital age na talaga. We have different kinds of setup when it comes to meetings, 'di ba? We do hybrid, we do online, we do face to face, and most of the time we are using technological devices. And these technological devices creates problem when it comes to effective communication. So for example, poor internet connection during online class or online meeting. 'Di ba? Or kaya outdated or incompatible na yung software, ayaw gumana yung ginagamit yung applications or kailangan yung i-update. Ito na yung meeting, magsi-start na. Kung kailan mag-start na yung meeting, doon pa mag-a-update yung application. Another example, yung mga employees, hindi sila ganun ka-trained to use new communication tools, kaya nahihirapan silang sumabay doon sa trend. Okay, so these are the barriers of effective communication. Next, what is workplace conflict? So, yun, workplace conflict happens, okay, when two or more people disagree due to differences in opinions, values, communication styles, or expectations. So, ma'am, paano po siya nangyayari? If those barriers in effective communication is mishandled or hindi natin napagtuunan ng pansin yung mga technological barriers, psychological barriers, physical barriers, cultural barriers, if hindi natin yun napagtuunan ng pansin at hindi natin binigyan ng focus, magkakaroon ng workplace conflict. Okay? Because people from the workplace or the organization will not understand one another. Okay? Now, what are the causes of conflict in multicultural workplace? Bakit ba nagkakaroon ng conflict? Okay? Ano yung mga nagti-trigger? Okay? Ano yung mga issues na nag-a-arise? Bakit nagkakaroon ng hindi pagkakaunawaan in the workplace? Okay? So, first we have communication issues. So, when we say communication issues, kapag yung mga words or tone or body language na ginagawa natin ay nami-misunderstood, okay, or hindi naiintindihan ng kausap natin, then magkakaroon tayo ng communication conflict or magkakaroon tayo ng hindi pagkakaunawaan sa workplace. For example, katulad ng sinabi ko, yung American employee, um, para sa kanila kapag direct to the point yung feedback, normal lang yon. Okay? Pero kapag sa atin, Filipino, kapag ang feedback natin ay direct to the point or sinabi mo talaga yung gusto mong sabihin, whether it is good or bad, pag hindi yan maayos yung pagka-deliver, okay, kailangan pa nating iligoy-ligoy, kailangan pa nating pabulaklakin para lang hindi ma-hurt yung katrabaho natin. Kasi para sa atin, rude yon. Okay, but in American setting or in another country setting, normal lang yung feedback na ganun. Hindi na kailangang pabulaklakin pa or paligoy-liguyin pa. They are doing it direct to the point. Okay? But for us, Filipinos, we value relationships. We value respect with our colleagues. Kahit alam na nating mali, kahit alam na natin na gusto nating tanungin or usisain yung conflict, wala. Tina-turn down natin para lang hindi tayo maging rude. Okay? Next, cultural differences. So, paulit-ulit na nating sinasabi na bawat nationalities, bawat tao, meron tayong iba't ibang values when it comes to time, when it comes to teamwork, when it comes to working arrangement, when it comes to hierarchy, kasi nga meron tayong iba't ibang cultural dimensions. However, kapag itong cultural differences na to, ay hindi natin naunawaan or hindi natin nirespeto yung paniniwala ng bawat isa, magkakaroon ng conflict sa organization. For example, yung mga Germans, binavalue talaga nila yung punctuality. Okay, sumusunod talaga sila sa deadline, sumusunod sila sa directions, pero yung culture naman, for example, ng Latin America, flexible sila, 'di ba? So, magkakaroon ng conflict kasi magkaiba sila ng culture, magkaiba sila ng um, values. Okay? Next is work style differences. Okay? So, katulad nga ng discussions natin when it comes to cultural dimensions, di ba? There are two types, yung individualism at saka uh, collectivism. Pag individualism, I prefer to work alone, me, myself, and I. Kapag collectivism, we prefer to work in group or in teamwork. So, ganun din sa work style differences. Okay, there are some culture na prefer nilang mag-work with one another. Okay, ng grupo-grupo, ng collaboration. And meron namang other culture na ang gusto nila, kanya-kanya tayo. O eto trabaho mo, eto trabaho ko. Huwag mong pakialaman yung trabaho ko, hindi ko pakikialamanan yung trabaho mo. So pag ganon, magkaiba ng work style differences, nagkakaroon ng conflict sa workplace. Okay? So, yan. Next, personality clashes. Okay? So, syempre, hindi naman tayo born as one. Magkakaiba tayo ng behavior, magkakaiba tayo ng preferences. Yung pwedeng okay sa akin, hindi pala okay sa iyo. Magkakaiba rin tayo ng level of temper. Meron tayong pwedeng maging ka-work in the future na mabilis mag-init yung ulo niya. Hindi siya pwedeng magturo ng paulit-ulit or tanungin ng paulit-ulit. There are some people naman that they are very patient when it comes to working or projects na kahit ilang beses mong tanungin at mag-ask ka ng help, okay lang sa kanya. Tutulungan ka pa rin niya. That's why if this personality clashes with one another, then conflict will arise in the workplace. So these are some of the causes of conflict in multicultural workplace. Now, last but not the least, class, paano ba natin masusolusyunan? Or ano ba yung mga pwede nating gawing actions para ma-lessen, ma-prevent, or masolusyonan yung mga conflict na pwede nating kaharapin in the workplace? Okay? So, first is acknowledge the conflict. Okay? So, wag natin siyang i-ignore. Okay? I-address natin siya ng maaga. Okay? Wag natin siyang, ay, okay lang yan, lilipas din yan. Bukas okay na din yan. Hindi pwede. Kasi nga, if i-ignore natin siya, magfa-file up ng magfa-file up hanggang sa mas lumaki yung problema. Okay? That's why, kung meron ng conflict sa una pa lang, we address it immediately or right on the spot. So, for example, manager ka ng isang hotel in the future. Okay? Or magiging manager ka. Nakita mo or napansin mo na merong tension between the two members of your team. So, anong gagawin mo? What will be your resolution or what will be your solution? Pag-aawayin mo ba sila lalo? Or papakinggan mo lang ba yung isang side kasi best friend mo siya or mas matagal kayong magkatrabaho? what will you do? Correct. So you have to set a boundary between those two members. Okay? Kunin mo muna yung side ng bawat isa. And then kapag nakuha mo na yung side ng bawat isa, then that's the time that you're going to set a private meeting with those two members only to discuss yung concern para malaman natin, oh, ano ba yung pinag-aawayan nyo or ano ba yung tension na meron sa inyo. Let's resolve it here. I want to hear both sides of the story. Okay, so acknowledge the conflict. Don't ignore it and address it immediately or as early as possible. Next, practice active listening. So you listen carefully to all sides without interruption. Hayaan mo silang magkwento. You get and listen carefully to what they are trying to say. Okay? But always remember that active listening is not just only hearing words. Okay? Hindi yung papakinggan mo lang sila pero lumalabas naman dito sa kabilang side ng tenga mo. You have to fully understand their message. Okay? And bigyan mo sila ng attention. Bigyan mo sila ng empathy. And i-clarify mo ano ba yung meaning ng sinasabi niya. Okay? And it should be both sides of the story. Okay? So yun, you show empathy, you clarify things, and you repeat it once again so that all of you is aligned and understand the same information. For example, there are two employees from different cultures. Tapos, nagdi-disagree sila about sa project deadline, hindi sila magkasundo. Okay? So, instead na i-interrupt, yung isa, ang sabi niya, um, so if I understood correctly, you feel the timeline is too short because you want to ensure quality. So, anong isasagot mo doon? So, meaning, yung nakikinig doon sa information na tina-transfer mo, they are listening and trying to understand the other person's perspective. Nilalagay nila yung sarili nila doon sa perspective ng taong nagsasalita. So, you analyze, you empathize with all of the information. Hindi yung pagkasabi niya, nagre-react ka agad or galit ka agad. Hindi mo muna alamin kung ano ba yung meaning nun or kung ano ba yung interpretation nun. Okay? So, another example naman, merong team meeting and then a manager notices na merong isang team member na tahimik habang ine-explain yung idea. So, what will you do? Move ka na ba agad dun sa next information or dun sa next topic? Hindi, 'di ba? So what will you do is instead na mag-move on ka quickly, so you as a manager, pwede kang mag-lean forwards and says, so I hear your concern about the workload. So could you explain more about the support you need, for example? Or do you have any question? Do you understand the ideas that I am trying to explain to you? Or any concerns that I need to address and answer. So, tatanungin mo muna sila. You have to make sure na everybody is aligned. Okay? You have to acknowledge everybody. That's what we call active listening. Okay? Hindi mo dapat ite-turn down yung mga napapansin or nakikita mong conflict sa workplace. Next is respect cultural differences. So, lagi nating tatandaan, class, na i-recognize natin na hindi porket normal sa kultura natin ay normal na din sa kultura nila. Baka sa atin normal siya pero sa kanila offensive pala. Okay? So that's why we have to adjust our voice, our words, our approach, yung tone, kung paano tayo nagsasalita, paano tayo nagbe-behave, paano tayo kumikilos, paano tayo nagbibigay ng feedback at nagre-respond doon sa mga actions and communications na binibigay sa atin. Okay? So another example, sa mga western culture, kapag direct to the point ka, okay lang yun sa kanila. Maa-appreciate nila yun. Ayaw nila ng paligoy-ligoy. If they ask you, what do you want? What food do you want? They are expecting you to answer the food that you want. Hindi pwedeng, ikaw na bahala o kaya, o, 'di ba hindi gano'n. Sa Western culture, they will appreciate if you are talking direct to the point. Okay? Sa Asian culture, ito nga yung lagi kong sinasabi, class, indirect communication tayo. Kasi nga, we always preferred to maintain harmony. Gusto natin, magkakasundo pa rin tayo. Ayaw natin ng conflict. Okay? So, kahit sa meeting, kahit no na tayo, ayaw natin mag-no. Mag-yes pa rin tayo kahit hindi hindi siya okay sa atin. Tapos irarant natin after the meeting. So, yun yung mga cultural differences na we have to take in consideration. Another example, in Middle Eastern cultures, yung pagpapakita ng sole, yung ang tawag dito, yung sole ng sapatos. I forgot the Tagalog of sole. So, yung sole ng sapatos sa Middle Eastern cultures, disrespectful yon, bawal yon ipakita. But in the US, okay, yung crossing naman ng legs, normal yon sa kanila pag nag-cross ka ng legs. But in another culture, kapag if you cross your legs in front of your bosses or somebody with your opposite gender or opposite sex, so it might shows that you are flirting. Okay, so yun yung mga actions or cultural differences na kailangan nating i-take in consideration para ma-avoid natin yung conflict sa workplace. Next, encourage open communication. So you have to create a safe space for employees to express their viewpoint. Hayaan natin silang mag-open up, mag-share ng informations, mag-share ng ideas because employees that felt or feel safe will voice their thoughts without the fear of judgment or punishment. Kasi kapag meron silang gustong sabihin sa meetings tas tina-turn down na agad natin sila, hindi, hindi, mali yan. O hindi na sila mag-share ng information or hindi na sila mag-share ng concern nila. And if that time comes, then magkakaroon ng problem sa workplace natin kasi we avoid communication. Okay? So we have to always encourage our employees to have open communications. Okay? Accept all of their concerns, all of their thoughts. That's why in a multicultural team, okay, yung team leader is laging may open forum sessions where employees can share their concerns about workloads or misunderstanding and dapat hindi siya tinetake personally. Trabaho lang, walang personalan. But sa Filipino culture, 'di ba, sa atin pag nagsalita ka against your bosses or against the um what you call this, against the workplace, so tinitake into personal matters. That's why karamihan sa atin hindi na lang nagsasalita para hindi mapag-initan. But that's a no-no. Okay? So next, find common ground. So, you have to always remember, class, that conflict cannot be avoided sometimes. Okay? Since, syempre, may iba-iba talaga tayong way of thinking and hindi naman natin siya mapipigilan. But we have to always remember that in order for us to succeed and progress in our organization, you have to always find a common good. Lagi nating iisipin na focus tayo dun sa goals natin instead sa mga personal um, grudges natin or cultural differences natin. Okay? You have to focus na ano ba yung output na kailangan nating ma-achieve. O isang tabi muna natin tong mga personal likes and dislikes natin. Ano ba yung kailangan nating isagawa para makuha natin yung magandang project or makuha natin yung magandang output. Okay? So, common goal or finding a common ground to resolve conflict is a must in a certain organization. Okay? Because if you know your mission, if you know your vision, and if you know your objectives, then dun lang dapat tayo nagfo-focus. Hindi dapat natin mini-mix up yung personal emotions natin when it comes to our workplace relationships. And last but not the least, use mediation necessary. So, when we say mediation, pag hindi na talaga kayang isolve yung conflict ng normal setting. So, kailangan nyo nang kumuha ng neutral third party that can resolve the issues fairly. Usually, arbitrator or human resources manager or kaya multicultural leader na makakapag-resolve ng conflict ng walang pinapanigan. Okay? So, for example, there are two employees from different cultural backgrounds. Meron silang misunderstanding. So, pwedeng mag-organize yung HR ng mediation session which each can explain their sides. And yung HR can help them find common resolution doon sa kanilang problem. Okay? Another example naman, yung mga multinational company. Um, Meron silang multicultural manager na tinatawag. Okay? Na pwedeng mag-deviate or maging middleman para ma-resolve yung conflict. Okay? So these are the uh, conflict resolution strategies that you have to take in consideration when you are working in a multicultural, diverse workplace. And that's the end of our discussion. Thank you.